Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another raid Shadow Legends video. So guys, it's been a while since I've done an update to my Clan Boss series. I think my Clan Boss series was probably one of the most popular things that I did when I first started out on YouTube. Since then, Clan Boss has kind of moved on a ton, but actually the videos are still relevant to kind of standard Clan Boss setups. However, I'd say vastly more popular now than those standard setups is trying to move your team into an unkillable team. And what I'm going to do in this video is basically give you a resource that highlights the different unkillable teams. I'm going to let you know my thoughts in trying most of them out, either on my account or on other people's accounts. I'm going to let you know how easy I find them to set up. I'm going to have all of the speeds in one place. And I'm going to actually finish this video with a brand new unkillable team for me. It's not a new one in the community, but it's a new one for me. Because actually what I wanted to do was free up a lot of my champions that I'm just using for Clan Boss to enable them to come into other content like the arena and like dungeons. So what I'm going to do is just take you to a new sheet that I've produced. Now this is going to live on my champion tier list as an extra tab. So once this video goes up, there's a link in every single video description I do where I link where I put my champion tier list. This is going to be an extra tab and it's going to be called Unkillable Comps Rated. So we're going to run through the different ones there are. On this sheet you can see where you find them, and then I'm just going to talk you through why I think they're easy, hard, or not worth doing really. We're going to go top to bottom. So Skull Tower. This is Skull Crusher and Roshgard the Tower coming together to take on the Clan Boss. Now this composition is good on both Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, running the same speeds. So that's a big tick for me. It requires 3 definite champions. So it requires a tower. It requires a Skull Crusher, although I've seen people do it with Nullhorn, which is kind of interesting. And it requires a cleanser. If you get a cleanser in there, then it just becomes a very simple comp. And the ideal cleanser for that team is going to be Doom Priest. I do have a video on it, which is at the end here, which will be linked. Feel free to click onto that and check it out. And I do have the kind of description of the setup, because that's not going to be in my video, for how you do it on Nightmare as well. I'd say for this comp, it's probably like an easy 4-key Ultra Nightmare team. I've seen it do 2 keys on on Ultra Nightmare, but it's not the easiest 2-key out there. So I'd say you're probably going to get a reliable 4-key, probably 3-key, unless you've got very good gear. So the next one down then, War Tower, is kind of similar sort of setup really. It's not affinity friendly as far as I've seen. Some people may correct me and I can update this if I'm wrong, but what I've seen and what I've experienced, it's not affinity friendly, which means you need to get out there and take on the Void affinity. You know, if something like the Spirit affinity kicks in, then it's probably going to fail unless you mitigate it in a different way, probably with a Doom Priest again. Good thing about this one is you actually get to put 3 DPSs into your team instead of 2 like the previous one, which does mean it's easier to get to that 2-key potential. However, I think the setup for it is harder, and I think the requirements in terms of speeds are very difficult. So 242, 241, and then 220 are 3 pretty tough levels of speed to hit unless you're super endgame. Next one down, Santa Tower. I've seen this done. The video I've linked here is actually, I think it's a video from scratch. Cool comp. It is affinity friendly if you get a cleanser into that team again. Doom Priest does really well for that. You do need to book out Tower and Sonic, but you only want Sonic's A3 booked. You don't want his A2 booked, otherwise it could throw it out. And you've got the speeds here. Feel free to go and check out Scratch's video on this one. I'd say this is the hardest in terms of difficulty of all the Unkillables. Sonic is a pain to deal with in Unkillables, especially if you want to have like an auto comp. So it might be that this one is just better on manual. But again, you can get a 4-key easily from it, and you can get a definite 2-key out of this comp. Probably the one that most people are going to find some use for, just because of requirement of champions for these things really. But the Budget Maneater, very cool composition where you can run a Maneater, a Painkeeper, and then 3 DPSs. relatively slow speeds compared to some of the other comps here, certainly for Nightmare. Does scale up for Ultra Nightmare. I've seen some kind of slightly slower comps for Ultra Nightmare. Certainly, I think I saw Rust had done something, so it's worth just kind of feeling your way through this one. But ultimately, you do need affinity tanks for this to work on all affinities, but it can work. The cool thing here is you just need one epic, one rare, booked out, and then you'll be able to do this. You definitely need Maneater's A3 booked, otherwise it won't work. And all you need in terms of different affinities is different affinity tanks to take the stun. So whoever your slowest champ is on this combo, or this kind of setup, will be your stun target. You need them to be the stun target because they're the only person who's going to be unkillable when the stun goes off. I've done a couple of videos on this, so feel free to check out my videos, and that will show you how the setup works. But for me, this is a really cool budget unkillable. Good thing about my videos here is it actually shows me fail in the video and shows how I rectify the fail. Now, there's a very good piece of info on Deadwood Jedi's site. Rust has created a stun calculator. I would suggest you get that stun calculator when you're doing this comp to save yourself some keys, because it's very easy to make the stun go in the wrong place, and you absolutely need it to go on that slow champion. The best way I've found to stop Painkeeper taking the stun on that composition is to give Painkeeper lifesteal gear if you can get it to the right speed in lifesteal gear. That would just kind of solve a hell of a load of pain. I'd say the setup is hard because of that stun manipulation. It's definitely an easy 4 key, possible 3 key, and for a budget comp where you could literally run Bulwark, a couple of Frozen Banshees, or Frozen Banshee and Grave Chill, or Razin, or whoever, it's an easy 3 key for a budget comp. The next one for me is, I think, the easiest setup in the game. Double Maneater. I've done a couple of videos on this again, so feel free to check out my video on this one. All you need to do is hit the right speeds. The speeds for Nightmare here, 226, 224, and then you've got the DPSs are actually relatively slow. And the speed for Ultra Nightmare, it picks up, but again, they're relatively achievable speeds, I think, for this composition. What I would say on this one, let me just move myself so you can see it as easy as possible. What I would say for this one is, because you become totally unkillable, I think you could become unkillable around 7. So you need to make sure you've got a bit of survivability until that happens. But when you become totally unkillable, it means that you can just push as much damage as you can into your champs. So you'll be pushing higher attack than you normally would. You'll be pushing your crit rate up, your crit damage up. I'll show you my comp for BatManeater, which is the last one we're going to talk about. And that has got a very similar mentality. You're totally unkillable, which means you can throw your damage up. The other thing which I love about Double Maneater is it's totally affinity friendly. For me, it's the easiest clan boss team to set up in the game. And it's just going to cause you way less issues trying to get it working. But Double Maneater, very cool comp. And for me, probably like a crowd favorite because it's so simple to do. It's a I did an easy 2 key on somebody's account where I was struggling to 4 key with their normal champs. That's how different it was in terms of like scaling damage. Now, if we think about the next one, then Batman Forever. This is kind of what inspired the last comp. Batman Forever was Seeker coming into the mix. Seeker does not put an increased speed buff on, just does a turn meter boost. So it's very easy for super brains to work out how many times you needed Seeker to go to get back to your unkillable state, and therefore get everybody running at 2 times the speed of the clan boss. Therefore, you're getting double hits in every time, and you can manipulate the various required stats. I just noticed a little error on my sheet there. So for this one, you definitely need to book out Seeker's turn meter booster. You need to make sure that you've booked, again, people like the Tower or Santa or Warcaster's unkillable moves. It's not totally affinity friendly. It's quite difficult to run on affinity, but I've seen it do a 1 key. The video which I've linked here is actually a video to Murder Inc.'s channel. He's done this and done a 1 key. It's a cool comp, but again, for me, I'd rather have affinity yeah, a bit more affinity security. And actually, the amount of times I get asked to do an account takeover and people say, well, I want it to work for Nightmare, I want it to work for Ultra Nightmare, I want it to be affinity friendly, you know, the list goes on. And you're like, guys, these comps aren't as easy as you think they are. Like, they're not as easy to do all of those things as you think they are, as you've seen in videos. Actually, some of them are quite difficult to get the different speeds running. Which leads me to the last composition, actually. So, BatManeater, I've recently seen a video on Deadwood Jedi's site for this, which is what's kind of inspired me to try it myself. Now, BatManeater, you're going to need 2 Man-Eaters, a Seeker, and a Painkeeper, all of them with their main abilities booked out. So this one's kind of sold as, you know, the ultimate unkillable team if you've got these champions. So you need a Seeker, you need 2 Man-Eaters, you need a Painkeeper. Once you've got those 4, the final champion can be anyone that does DPS. I've seen it with Richos the Bold, I've seen it with a Xavier, I've seen it with just a damage dealer like an Aina. I'm going to run it with Draco because he's my best champion for it, because he's going to give me decreased defense, decreased defense, weaken, and poison. But you can definitely run it with all sorts of champs. The cool thing about this one is you can run it with somebody in a Relentless set for your DPS, and when he gets that extra turn, it doesn't matter because the Man-Eaters will still sink in their Unkillable. So it just means you can push more damage through your champs. Very cool. So we're going to run into that one now. For me, it comes in line with the double Man-Eater in terms of how easy it is to set up as long as you hit the right speeds. We're going to see if with my champs and my gear, I can just push a 1 key today. So let's have a look at it. Okay, so I've been gearing this one up this morning. I'm going to move away, as I said earlier, from my normal standard team. I've been running a standard team. It's been a 1 key team, but I want to free up my Valk for the arena. I want to get Ultan working back in the arena again. So I decided just to run this. Plus, my other comp is very cool for Void. I always 1 key on Void, but if I get to Affinity Clan Boss, it's normally a 2 or a 3 key, so I might as well just run an Unkillable anyway. And as it is, to 1 key, what benefit do I actually get for that? Well, maybe I kill Brutal Clan Boss, or I have to just not worry about Clan Boss. So I don't really gain a benefit. So let's run through the standard requirements then. So we've seen the speeds needed on the previous page. We've got 1 fast Man-Eater. He needs to be running at 265 speed. That's basically the only requirement you need for him. That's it. He does need to stay alive for the first 2 turns, so I guess he needs a tiny amount of health, but he'll have that anyway. The only requirement you've got is his speed. Now, to move from just I'm tickling the clan boss to getting some damage out of your Man-Eater, you also want to try and push crit rate, crit damage, attack. Yeah, those 3 things will give you more damage out of your Man-Eater if you can do it. But speed is the most important thing here. Accuracy is not what you want in this build. You don't want him landing his debuff, his decreased attack. It's not what he's there for. You definitely need to book out his Ancient Blood skill so that he gets his Unkillables back quicker. And in terms of Masteries, you don't want to be running any sort of speed up Masteries. The defense tree is best for your second tree because you get a chance to get some counters. If I was respecking this guy, I would actually spec into Grim Resolve instead of Heart of Glory. This is an old build I did. I'm not going to waste gems on it, but Grim Resolve is the better mastery for your Man-Eaters because they're always going to be low health, so you're going to get that extra damage out of that. If you can get yourself into War Master, it will give you additional damage because of the procs. However, you don't need it. You don't need it on any of your Man-Eaters. They don't even need to be a 60 actually, but it just helps to get more damage. So the second person in the team, we'll show you the slow Man-Eater next. Same mastery setup here, booked out again on his A3. And basically the same style build, but speed at 247. So fast one 265, slow one 247. I've gone for attack, I've gone for crit, I've gone for crit damage. I've got more accuracy than I needed, than I wanted even. But it also came with good juicy rewards like a lot of crit and the right speeds that I needed and stuff. So I've kind of had to take it on the chin for that one. Other people in the comp then, we have got ourselves Painkeeper. Painkeeper does have to have combat tactics booked out. So we want this booked out. She also needs to have Spectacular Sweep booked out for this. Or maybe she doesn't actually. Maybe this isn't a requirement, but it just helps. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe it's just A3 actually. So for this, we want to be running our Seeker at 248 speed. Sorry, our Painkeeper at 247 speed. 247. I've gone for crit again and crit damage. Her damage scales weirdly. She's got like defense and attack here. She's got HP and attack here. So she's not going to do a ton of damage. I've built up some crit and crit damage, and then I've kind of just let the stats fall where they're going to fall. And then on Masteries, I don't put her in defensive Masteries because I don't want her doing counter attacks. If she A1s, she boosts turn meter, which will throw everything out. So I don't want this retribution on her. It's the only champ I don't want it on. So I've gone for this kind of support tree, just by recommendation, really. I saw Deadwood did it, looked like it worked for him. I've copied it. So let's go into Seeker then. Seeker's the 4th champ. Seeker can do damage. Seeker can kick out a ton of damage. Now, again, I've gone for the right speed, 248. I've gone for as much crit and crit damage as I can get with strong attack, because he scales off attack. I wish I got a bit more crit, but I didn't quite land it. 93, 239 at 248 speed. I do have one set of cruel here. If you've got crazy gear, you might get more cruel gear on. If you've got worse gear, you'd go all speed. In terms of the jewelry, we've got like attack with attack roll, crit damage, attack. This is kind of consistent with my man-eaters as well. They've got a similar setup to this. We've done crit damage here for this one, attack percentage here, and speed. Yeah, and then I've just been looking for crits and crit damage other than that. I've got him with his A2 booked out. This is really important here. Got to get these cooldowns. And then we've got the same Masteries pretty much as Man-Eater, except I did manage to do this after I knew what I was going to use him for. So I do have Grim Resolve here. So Seeker, I can just level him up in a second to finish him off. He'll get a bit more attack for doing that. Is the 4th. And then the final champ in my comp is my Draco. Not that one. That's one who's waiting in the wings. We've got a Draco here. Now I've put Draco in a Relentless set because I can push out more hits and therefore more damage. That's the cool thing about this comp, is actually your damage dealer can have a Relentless gear, which means you can get some extra turns going. Or you can just go like all cruel gear and just get to the right speed. That's fine. Or if you need to go all speed gear, that's fine as well. It doesn't actually matter. But the more damage you can do, the better. This is your sole kind of main source of damage, this person, whoever it's going to be. It might be a Frozen Banshee for you. It might be that you just want poisons. So I've got the right speed, 218. I've got 86 crit rate, should be 100. Bad build from me. 232 crit damage. 4.6, nearly 4.7k attack, and then I've got his accuracy where I needed it to be. So again, for me, I don't have the best Relentless gear, which is why my crit rate's so low. I'd much rather it had crit on it, but I don't have anything with that on it. And I wanted to get that attack in there. So it might be at some point I'll respec him out, but ultimately I was looking for the right speed, crit damage, and accuracy to land his debuffs. Obviously you want his stuff booked out. And he's got a very similar set of Masteries to Man-Eater. Again, if I was speccing him just for this, I would do Grim Resolve. So that's my team, guys. We're going to get in and show you the setup for it. Monthly pack, yum yum. So as ever, my clan kind of gets through Clan Boss so quick that I'm always almost on affinity, which is why this comp feels like the better way to go for me. Because I very rarely am able to get my 1 key out with my normal comp, because we're always down in some sort of different affinity. So let's get rid of the old school, the old vibes. I do want that Draco back in. And let's bring on the new team. Now, so we've got Man-Eater, Seeker, and Painkeeper. Take the vault off, make it easier. Seeker is leveling up. And then Painkeeper is here. And then we just got Draco. Now, I don't think I've got anything which is going to really help me in terms of auras at all. So no auras that are going to help me. I'm going to put Draco in the lead just because I want to. That's the only reason. And I'm actually just going to quickly level up Seeker. Okay, we've got a leveled Seeker, so it just punches his attack up a bit more, just to give me a good chance of getting myself that 1 key. So, but 1 key is not really what I care about here. It's just a convenient, easy 2 key. That's what I'm looking for. So we're going to turn auto off. You do need to do a setup here. So we're going to go A1 on our fast Man-Eater first, The setup's really important, guys. You can hit auto before long, but setup is important. So A1, fast Maneater. We go Seeker, boost, and then A1. We go A1 with the slow Maneater. We do A3 with our Painkeeper. We then do any old damage kind of support stuff with your damage dealer. Probably should have done poison. I don't really know what's better there. A1 again on your fast Maneater. Again, speed up and A1 with your Seeker. Seeker does damage, guys. Slow Maneater, you then throw out another A1. We then do a A2. Let me just check that. Yeah, A2 on your Painkeeper. It's important not to do your A1 there, unless you'll throw yourself out of sync. Get the poisons off with Draco. Now, this is the first time we're going to use Unkillable. So we're actually at the end of the clan boss's second hit. It's the third turn for your Maneater, the fast one. He throws his Unkillable up. Okay, so we've also got block debuffs. So for, against any affinity here, you won't be picking up like the reduced speed and all that type of stuff, yeah? A1 on your Seeker. We then go another A1 on your slow Maneater. And at this point, I could auto. Actually, I'm going to auto just so you can see it works. At this point, you can auto. And that is basically it for the setup, which is pretty easy setup for such a cool kind of, such a cool combo. So you get around to the stun. Nobody can be stunned on the stun phase. Draco's going to do his thing all day long, throwing out the decreased defense and weakens, letting these guys do more damage. When it comes back up to the second kind of full turn from the clan boss, we're going to get Unkillables back up here. See that cycling through nicely. That's going to last through this turn. And then the second Maneater is going to get his Unkillable up like the second time round. It's such a cool comp, guys. It's such an easy to run comp once you've got that first setup done and you've got your speeds right. Masteries are massively important, as I said, as well. But for me, I mean, you can already see my damage per turn, and I'm only just at the start of this. You can already see how it's kicking up like 5 million in 5 turns. As long as nothing goes wrong, which it shouldn't do, we will always be doing at least 1 million per turn. I think probably more like 1.3 million per turn once this gets going. So I'm going to let this run through. I'll bring it back on with like, a few hits to go just so you can see it's still running well. And let's see what sort of damage we do. Okay, guys, so as promised, I'm bringing you in for the last few turns. I actually think we're going to get a straight out 1 key. I literally, guys, before I made this video, I've never built this comp before. I've never tested anything. I've literally just built it, shown you guys it. It looks like we're going to hit 1 key straight out. Of course, I've put them all in good gear. Yeah. This is a showcase. This is me showing my new sexy team. But I did think I might have to tweak a bit more to get that 1 key out. But it feels like we're just going to get there straight out. I've had no issues in terms of like the full auto. It's been going the whole time. I made myself a cup of tea. I drank it. I walked the dogs twice. No problems. We've got our 1 key coming. It's actually, it's so super easy. Obviously reliant on you having these champs. And that's a big deal to get yourself that double Maneater. I know that in the recent event just gone for the double voids, the amount of people that just said, I want a Maneater. They weren't asking for Venus. They weren't asking for, all of the other void legendaries. It was like, I just want a Maneater so that I can do this and make Clan Boss an easy, fun experience again. You see there, my Draco coming in with the double turn. That's a relentless set kicking in. He's done that a few times. But guys, we've cleared that 1 key. Bam. Cleared the 1 key. Same as we could have 1 keyed with just a normal double Maneater comp, to be fair. That comp works the same. But with this composition, you literally need 4 non-legendary champs and then 1 champion that's going to kick out your damage. And job done, guys. So this is on affinity as well. I don't know if non-affinity would have changed anything. It wouldn't have, no, because we're all... there's no like positive or negative effects from affinity here. It's a straight even. So we've got 2 blues, we're up against blue. It's absolutely fine. But yeah, so you can see the only one that I maybe or struggle with in terms of a 1 key, I think is going to be Force, because I've got 2 champs in here which are magic. But other than that, it looks like I've got room to spare, so I think we'll probably be fine for that as well. So guys, look, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will link the link to the Excel sheet for you guys to just dip in and out of as you want to, and absolutely get yourself onto Deadwood Jedi's site as well if you want more info around Unkillable comps. There is more in there. I just picked out the ones which it felt like were community favorites. So there we go, nearly 75 mil. First go, bang. Seeker coming in with a nice 14.6. Draco smashing 35 mil. Maneater's doing nearly 10 mil each. Caramba. Here we go. I'll catch you later, guys.